Hey guys, we're back. It's Ted Bogert with the Ted Show, and we're back with one of my favorite co-hosts, the one and only Dr. Kris Sargent. We're going to talk today on our series Spark Faith about, are you just trying to stay alive? Are you being proactive or reactive in your health? This is a great time of year. Maybe not right now, but after Christmas, as Dr. Kris Sargent's going to tell us all about it. Welcome, Kris. How are you today?
I'm great. I got the red and green thing going.
Yeah,
I am
you're in it. You're in the holiday.
I am in it. And if you go check my Facebook page, you'll see that I had green with red yesterday. So
nice holiday colors. Holiday colors.
All in it.
You gotta get in it.
About it. You have to.
All right. So I love
something.
this. I absolutely love this topic.
Yeah, let's go.
Like, are you just trying to stay alive? Could apply to so many things in 2020. Many things, not just physical health, mental health, soulful, spiritual, the whole thing. And so I thought, God, this is a great topic, Kris. So let's talk about it. Let's take a deep dive. Give us your thought process. It's all about mindset, correct?
It is all about mindset. So here's the deal. Would you ever intentionally run your car out of gas? Like, driving down the road, your little light bings, you get this flashy thing, you got you get all the bells and whistles going, and you're like, nah, whatever. And then you get angry and wonder why it happened as your engine goes gunk, 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 gunk.
Yeah.
And comes to a screeching halt, right? Like, that makes no sense to me. But that is basically what our medical profession is. Like, that's how it's built. And I'm here to tell you that I am not against the medical profession. You know that. Your audience may or may not know that about me, but I am not against that. We need you. Like, you needed them for a specific thing. I've needed them for specific things. If you get hit by a bus and your arm is on the other side of the road, like, you need our American acute care style of health. But that is not about health. That is about being sick and getting care for sickness versus creating a healthy body, which for me and my faith is all about how I can serve better if I'm healthier.
So I loved your example. I want to be honest with you. I guarantee you, everyone out there has done the clunk, clunk, clunk. They may have, because we all push it, right? We're pushing. The car is obviously an analogy for a metaphor for our bodies, our health overall. But I think the same as a car, where we push it and we get right there at the bottom and we go, God, I can't believe I have to stop for gas. Our bodies and our souls and our spirits all make us at some point, force us to really reevaluate what we're putting into it.
Absolutely. And, I wish I could tell you that I was immune to this whole phenomenon, but I've been not great this year either. And I came out in my Facebook group about, like, hey, I gained 8 pounds and I don't feel good. And I did my own labs. And, for me, as somebody who stays healthy, like, they're off, right? They're not where they were. Right? And so if you can find it now, like, my tank is still, 3/4, maybe half, right? But so it won't take me so long and it won't cost as much, right? It doesn't cost as much to get healthier if you stop it now versus waiting until you're all the way at the bottom of your tank. And then it's like, oh man, I got to spend $50 to get that thing filled up again versus, okay, I need to stop, do some detox, and then retox later.
Well, that's the thing. I think people continue. The problem is that it's not just 8 pounds here or there or once in a while. People just continue to drive it into the ground because they don't realize it adds up. And then by the time it adds up, it's almost too late. Then you really have to go into this full thing of, oh my God, I have to change. Instead of being proactive, now you're acting and you're reactive.
Right. And I can tell you, I realized that I have my kids on Christmas Eve, and then I have them over the weekend, and in between there's Christmas Day, and I get them part of the day, and then my ex has them. But I started on Sunday, 2 days ago, I started a detox because I know what's coming right? So I can get my body ready if I decide to have too much sugar or one too many glasses of champagne on Thursday, like whatever that might be. And maybe I won't because I haven't felt great. So you kind of go, well, it's not worth it. It's one day. I can do it next year. I can do it in a couple of weeks, whatever, right? We have the ability to do it at another time. And so it's understanding when and what needs to happen. And how to do it. Like there's so many ridiculous programs that don't really support your systems. And functional medicine allows a way to support all of your functions. Like God gave us this amazing body that knows how to detox itself, given the right ingredients. Like it knows how to clean itself up.
How do
it already
we know
has that.
Bring up such a great point, Kris. How do
we know? Maybe I can.
Here we go. Get detox quick schemes. And there's so many different opinions. Is it all vitamin C? Is it all starve yourself? What do we do? And how do we find out what is right for our bodies to do that?
So, okay. Shameless self-promotion. I have a great Facebook group. Hang on. No, I'm going to answer your question too. Yeah. I do have a Facebook group and we are going to do a January jumpstart and we're going to start with clean up your gut, because if your gut is not healthy, you can't absorb the vitamins and minerals. You can't absorb the food that you need to get, and your body's never going to be healthy. And 60 to 80% of your immune system wrapped around your gut. So if you're worried about the Rona, maybe you need to look at your gut, not where you thought to look, right? You're worried about taking this and doing that for up here. But your gut is really where a lot of that happens. So there's my shameless self-promotion. How do you really do it? I take labs and I look at your labs, not from are you empty yet perspective. Like, okay, how much do you have left in your tank, right? How much more do we have left in our tank? And maybe you don't have a lot left in your tank, but you don't even know because you haven't paid attention, or there's some self-awareness things, or you have paid attention and you just keep ignoring it. So we do labs looking at it from that perspective versus, oh, your tank isn't empty yet. Don't worry about it. You're good.
Yes. I think that's what we do. But we don't know how to maneuver through it. Like, because if you go to traditional medicine, and again, I'm a big proponent of both. You have to find out the combination that works for you.
Absolutely.
But they don't always run the tests that you need to really determine where you're at or where you need to be or where you're missing. It's very surface oriented. So the correct testing, the correct blood work, the functional medicine side is so important, because we actually need to get down to the nitty gritty. And most of those exams that are, by the way, driven by our insurance companies that make us do certain exams. I know, listen, I'm aware, but how do we push? Where do we go? How do we figure it out? Because I think people want to be empowered, but a lot of people are intimidated by the medical field.
Yeah, they really are. And, to be honest, most medical doctors will agree with me when I say that they had 7 hours of nutrition. 7, not 70, not 7 weeks, 7 hours, like less than one full day of nutrition in medical school. They, frankly, in my humble opinion, are not qualified to give you nutritional advice.
I agree.
They're not. So looking that direction. So then go to Institute of Functional Medicine or ifm.org and look for a practitioner in your area. I see people from across the country because I do everything. I can do everything like this.
Yes.
So I'm available. However, there are lots of doctors. I know people like to do the touchy-feely thing. There may be a doctor in your area that's closer, or you haven't quite, gotten to that place where you can see your doctor like this. So yeah, ifm.org is really where you can find a practitioner in your area. You can check me out. You can check out other people. And that's where you can get started. Really look for a nutritionist, look for somebody with some history of doing what, or working with someone who has whatever issues that you're facing.
And just reading it on Wikipedia or Google, it may give you an idea of what you might need to do, but that's not necessarily always the answer. And also feeding yourself with a bunch of nutraceuticals that you haven't checked out or don't know about is also a challenge, but people think, well, I'm going to buy the most expensive one because it got the 4 stars or 5 stars on Amazon, and that's got to be the best one. And if it doesn't work for me, well, I'm going back to the same way that I did things because that's how it goes. I think people get really discouraged.
I could not agree more. And you do get what you pay for in terms of your supplementation. However, you need to understand the difference between professional supplementation and over-the-counter supplementation. It's the difference between naproxen, naproxen, and Advil. Right? Like, you're going to get so much more out of your prescription than you will out of an over-the-counter. And it's the same with most of our professional supplements. And that sounds a little bit self-serving. However, I'm serving you. And if I don't come up with some good results for you, then I haven't done my job. And so I have to make sure that whatever tools I'm using are actually effective for you.
Well, that's the thing. It's not one size fits all. And I think people try to do it because that's easier. Well, my friend used this and it seemed to work for them. So it's got to work for me. And my thing to them, and I have no education on this, but as a person, I'm like, well, that's different. It's like saying, because I had cancer, every person who has cancer should get the same thing. Well, we have different cancers and our bodies react differently. We have different modes of how things react within us, and we have to make the choices intelligently. And I don't have the training to do that. That's why we have to go to professionals to do it.
Yeah, the genetic variability, like, big words, right? However, it's what we know. The Human Genome Project started when we were in college, and so
Stone Age.
When dinosaurs roamed the earth, and electron microscopes were as big as my house, right? And now they fit like in your AirPod case, I think. I know. So crazy. Anyway, so when the Human Genome Project started and we mapped out all the genes, and it was the year 2000 or so when they finally finished all that. And again, that was 20 years ago. But now, fast forward, right? We have 23andMe for a couple $100. You can get your entire genetic code read for you. And somebody like me who has had 20 years of experience reading genetics and understanding it can look at your stuff and go, oh, look, you have a higher risk for this and a higher risk for that. You need to be treating it this way. And again, this is like, are you just trying to stay alive, or do you want to create a life?
Yes. I think people also, if they can't have the food and the drink and do the lack of activity that they want, then they feel like anything else would not be a life. And what I try to encourage them is that that's all great. But if you're 50, 55 and you can't pick up your grandkids, or you can't take a walk, or you can't go to the mall when we used to be able to go to malls, and you can't do the things that you would normally enjoy, what quality of life is it really? So why not get ahead of the game? And that's one thing I want to ask you before we start to wrap up is tell us one or two things that maybe we can do before Christmas and New Year's hits that we can maybe adjust or at least mitigate what's going to happen in the next week or so.
So you make so many good points there. Like, we could take each one of those and spend like an hour on it. But so first of all, you don't have to start dying when you're 40. I don't care what your doctor tells you. You do not have to start dying when you're 40. You can be, I'm 56, super healthy. I can go out and run 7 miles. Like, you don't have to start dying. You can live, and then just die at like 90 or 95 or 100. You don't have to have crazy stuff, right? So
yes,
there's a couple things that you can do between now and the new year. You can, like, what if you just limited what you did to one meal or to one day instead of doing it every single day? What if the leftovers hit the garbage? The sugary leftovers hit the garbage. The leg of lamb that I'm going to have and the roasted butternut squash, that can stay. But maybe the bourbon ball pie or probably cheesecake, maybe that, right? Maybe that needs to hit the garbage.
Yeah.
Instead of going back into your fridge.
Yes.
Because that $3 or $4, seriously, that $3 or $4 worth of ingredients is not worth weeks and weeks of misery.
Yes.
It's not. Go ahead, have a piece, have a little piece, have a big piece, whatever, one day. So that's kind of how I live it. And in the bigger scheme, pick one meal a week. If you're eating small meals through the week, you're eating 30 or 35 times a week. And if you pick one meal on a Friday or a Saturday that you are just gonna have a good time, that in the big scheme of things doesn't matter. It's not gonna matter.
Right.
So I think people, like, that's the mindset, right? That's what we started talking about. That's the mindset.
It's the mindset, and it's a change,
never.
right? It's at least it's, and I think what people don't understand is if you can make that change, if you can do it, then the next time it gets a little easier to add another change. Right. And you see the success, and you see that you have the self-control to do it. You see how you feel afterward. Yeah.
And you keeping promises to yourself, and that makes you feel better about yourself.
So I'm committed to not eat an entire thing of homemade cookies.
All right.
That's the thing. I mean, I know it's funny because
so good.
I know, but it's funny. But like you said, I feel better when I go, okay, I'm not going to have that. I'm not going to do that right now. And it's not denying myself. It's doing good for myself.
Yeah, it is doing good for yourself. And it's not like comfort food is not comfortable. Exactly. Since when are tight pants, that bloated feeling, like gassy, gross, like since when is that comfortable?
Yeah, I agree.
The scale the next morning?
Oh yeah, nobody
that's not comfortable. That is not comfortable.
And what Kris is not saying that you cannot enjoy yourself or ever.
Exactly.
It's just a matter of making these changes. And I think a lot of people also make the mistake that they're not ready, they're not educated, and so they make this immediate, ginormous, gigantic change. Like it's all or nothing.
Baby. The atomic habit, right?
Yes. And it's just so much habit. You will be my experience is you'll be mentally happier if you make the changes like Kris is talking about. It's incremental. You have to get that used to your system and realize how good it is, and then you can make the next change.
Yep, it's little bit by little bit. I take people's hands in our program, and we walk, and we just do however fast you need to do it. And it's not on my time. Yes, it's on your time, because what I would do and what you do are way different. You know how we handle those things. Sure. I can turn on the dime now because I've done it for 30 years, right? I can just say, okay, Sunday, that's it. I'm done. No more sweets, no more junk. I'm shaky. I'm going to do shakes. I'm going to do this. I'm going to eat that. I've got it all planned out. And when you get to that place where you've done it for a little while, my goal is to teach a woman, teach a man to fish, right? I want to teach you how to handle and take care of this body. You've got blinkers in your car that tell you exactly what to do. Well, I'm going to give you blinkers so you know when and what to do, so you know how to take care of yourself. Yes. Yeah. It's not complicated. It's not.
Don't make it so complicated, and don't beat yourself up all the time. We got to talk about mindset of that at some point, but we have to head out. So tell us, Dr. Kris, how do they reach you if they want one of those consults you talked about? If they want to know more, how do they reach out to you?
So find me on Facebook, Dr. Kris Sargent, and I have RESTORYOU, restoreyou.com. Facebook's probably, frankly, the fastest and easiest place to find me. And then jump into it's called the Spark Yourself project. And that is my Facebook group, and join that. And we are going to have some fun. We'll do January Jumpstart. And get your gut healthy.
Take your lives back.
Yeah, take your health back. Take your life back. Take your brain back. Because
just do it. It's this.
Come on. It's going to be fun. Come on, it's with me. It's going to be fun.
All right. You're a joy as always. Dr. Kris Sargent. She's amazing. Restore You, RESTORYOU.com. Reach out to her on Facebook. I've tagged her there. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you. I think I might see you next week.
I think I'll see you next week. Yes.
Right. So Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
All right. Wow. We'll see you guys soon. Thank you.
Week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.